I just have to make sure to pause this one up here once it gets going. Let me start recording just so we have a local copy just in case everything goes wrong. Let's see if that thing gets rolling up there.
I'm pretty impressed with my Walgreens cover up.
Wow.
It's like, where is it?
I don't know. Where is it?
Well, I meant because everything's like backwards in this thing.
See, we're there. Okay, good. So as long as I mute that. There we go. Look at that. We're live. This is up just so we can see the chat. It's going to be 10, 20 seconds behind. So
it'll be flooded with people.
If you're looking anywhere, you're looking at the camera.
All right.
Like the camera lens is the ideal spot to be looking. And yeah, we're just getting prepped here. Going to start talking. If you haven't seen Severance Season 2, Episode 2, now's the chance to leave and go watch it and then come back. Because we will have spoiled all of the things for you by the time this is over with. So, let me get my notes up here just so I got something as a guidance for us here, little guidelines for us.
I pretty much paraphrase the entire show.
That's fine. That's kind of what I used to do, or sort of do as well, just to make sure. And it's not because I think you guys need a recap. It's because in order for me to remember and talk about everything in detail as I thought about it during the show, I kind of need to remind myself of what actually went on in every part of it. Is the volume good? Anybody there? How's our volume? Do we sound loud enough? Need to bump it up a little bit? Thoughts? Before I actually, play the music and start the show.
Oh, so we haven't actually started yet.
Yeah, the show hasn't begun. I mean, we're here, we're live. We're waiting to see if anybody can tell us how we're sounding.
That was Pilot who squeaked. That wasn't me.
Oh, you know what? It might be this that's too low. I think I had that at 15 before. Is that better? I feel like that's going to be much better. And then therefore this can go up a little bit too.
Yeah, this is really good.
This has got to sound better. The lines are in the correct area.
Should I be taller?
Is your seat up at its maximum height? Stand up.
No. Hello?
Or does that make it where your feet can't?
They can reach the floor.
Well, you never know. Gotta check. Okay, I'm just going to assume we're sounding good. That does look a little loud there, so let me bring that back down. Hello, hello, hello.
Do you want me to watch this?
What, are you just going to play it out loud and see? Oh, I could do it here. Let's see how it sounds.
Pilot again.
Yeah, I think it sounds okay.
How did you hear it?
I'm listening to it in my hearing aid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I realized why I'm getting hot.
Why is that?
It's the wine.
Oh, the wine.
I think it's a sauna in here.
Wine. Okay, let's get this. Live from Don't Have a Studio. My name is Joel Henderson. With me, as always, my lovely wife, Michelle.
Oh.
You have to say hi now.
Hello.
We're here to talk about Apple TV's series called Severance. Season 2, Episode 2.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah, sorry, let's cheers one.
It's my first
in a while.
drink.
Yes, it's been... Is it really? You were supposed to say yes. I was just playing along.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that is your first official drink, right? Or
yeah.
Did you... Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, well...
Welcome back
Here's to it.
Oh,
if you follow the vlog.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you don't, don't,
Then...
yeah, whatever.
Okay.
So this episode, last episode was Hello, Mrs. Cobell, or Miss Cobell, and this one is Goodbye, Mrs. Selvig.
Oh, I didn't even...
Episode titles.
Okay.
So, did you still have any thoughts that you wanted to say about episode 1 before we get into episode 2?
Oh, gosh.
Because I know you had made copious notes. Now, obviously, we don't have to run through everything, but...
How do I find
I thought
Sid?
I saw Severance there, right there.
So that's season 2.
Episode 1, right there.
Oh.
Like, I
you
mean,
like my copious notes?
Oh my gosh,
These are my...
you should show the camera up there. I mean, it's not going to see what you
blurry,
said,
but I take detailed notes.
It's fine. We need to remember what we're talking about. But, yeah, I don't think that would have been... It would have at least triggered some thoughts for you, and that's the whole point of it. We don't have to read all of it out loud. But
I can go
if
quick.
you go through it, the whole episode? Oh, just tell me any outstanding thoughts you had from the first one.
I don't know any outstanding thoughts. Oh, my first thing is that first of all, is there a map of this place? I feel like the hallways are like a maze and it's never ending.
Yeah, somebody actually showed the video and analyzed as they were turning, and one of the hallways appeared out of nothing. Like he ran at one point and stopped, and there was like a dead end in front of him, like 6 feet in front of him, and then he spun around and they showed the spinning, and it was like when it came back, he was looking the same way, but all of a sudden he was facing down a hallway.
Okay.
You know, so it's I think it's kind of a. I'm trying to think of the right term to compare it to, like an Alice in Wonderland type maze where things change, or somehow it's. I think they gave it to us in the first episode. Maybe the building's alive. The building's living in some form or fashion, and that kind of leads some, lends some credence to that.
Yeah.
Go on.
This goes way too detailed. I didn't realize when I first, so I think I rewatched the first episode maybe like 3 or 4 times.
The first one?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I kept falling asleep.
Right.
But I didn't realize that Mark S. had went to go see where Gemma was, or Miss Gracie. The wellness room.
Miss Casey.
Miss Casey.
Yeah.
Because the wellness room was gone.
Right.
And then I realized the lettering where it said wellness, you could see the little imprint.
Yeah, they were saying on the
wellness.
official podcast that was a production design where it was like, it kind of looks creepier if you leave it, where you can kind of see that it was there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that was, again, he talked to Mark, and he talked to Adam Scott and was like, what would you do when you first got in there? And he's like, I would run to try to find Miss Casey.
So I do have questions about when they said it's been 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you talked about Milchick said he was still unboxing his office, kind of. And it was like the lamp was even wrapped in plastic wrap.
It was a lie. It was an outright lie.
Okay, so that wasn't...
Because we kind of see that in episode 2 here. That was just a way to try to trick Mark S.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, sometimes we got to pause for Michelle to read here, just for find something in here with.
I like when that new guy, the Italian, I think he said he was, the one who had the ropes and the brooms.
Mm-hmm.
He said, where can I find some ink pencils?
Ink pencils?
Ink pencils.
I did not notice that.
Ink pencils. And then when Miss Huang was pulling out something from her drawer, I was like, you couldn't really see. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's one of those little games with the little water rings. And it was.
It was.
Because I stopped it and I paused because I was also looking at, she had like 5 pencils. She had some erasers.
Were any of them ink pencils?
Clips. I think so. They were like pens, but they had like eraser tips. So I think that's what they thought, ink pencils.
Okay.
That's all. I just have random thing. Yeah,
I mean,
we can go through.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just, I thought maybe before we went into episode 2, was there anything that was bothering you from episode 1?
No, Mark W. and Gwendolyn, they're from Branch 5X. So is this within the same building?
No. And we know that from this episode because of where Mark W. says he broke a lease at. So he moved there for that and worked for 3 days, as he said. He said 3 days of work.
Right.
So that means that's the reality of the timeline there for these first 2 episodes.
And I think the elevator got more narrow.
The elevator got more narrow?
The door, it's already small,
and
it just seems even smaller.
You think they adjusted that in a couple days?
I don't know. Probably not, but...
It's possible, I guess. So, shall we go into episode 2, or are you still on episode 1?
I liked when Dylan said to Irv, because when Irv was kind of like panicking, they didn't really know what was going on with Irv. And then Dylan was like, dude, are you poor up there? So I enjoyed that I like his little humor.
Oh yeah, Dylan is like the office, the one with the levity. Like somebody was saying that they are the 4 tenants, or tenors, or what is it called? The 4 things, the groupings, the 4 things that make up a person. Like when they were going through the perpetuity wing, they're like, it's woe and something and levity and whatever.
Like they're the 4 elements?
Yeah, like the 4 elements that what make a person a person. And if you notice, they're putting things into 4 boxes. And when they showed how many it was the same first letter of each of the 4 tenors.
Right.
Tenants. Correct me, anybody, if they know. I can't remember if it's tenors or tenants. I think tenors. So this all has to be leading towards some sort of their reincarnating or trying to bring people back with all this stuff. I don't know. It's got to be all related to that. Go on.
Dylan, in quotes, fuck, there's easels up there? Like his random comments he says.
Oh, but it'd be just that they've never seen an easel.
Yeah, so it's so cool. Like they literally have no idea. So in their any world, do they even know like what exists besides like? Remember when they were reading Rickon's book? It's like they had a book.
That was
they were able to
because
find out more things of.
think of it like and this might be a little too deep, but think of it like North Korea. Like the people that live there don't get to see stuff from outside of there, so they think the government tells them what is, and then you have to believe it because you don't know any better. That's what's happening here, where they're being everything they're told is propaganda from Lumen to get a desired result out of them. From this episode, it's clear that their goal is to get Mark to finish Project Cold Harbor. Like, above and beyond everything else, that is what they need done out of this.
Right.
Lumen. So again, they're working towards that goal with all the things they do to the innies, whether it be the perks or all that stuff. It's all just kind of manipulating them into doing what they need to get done.
Okay, one more thing. On my notes said the little girl's desk is very organized. Green paper clips, maybe blue paper clips, and dark blue paper clips. She has 4 pencil sharpeners, some lumen erasers, and ink pencils.
Well, somebody paused.
But no, so Milchek. Of course, I think he's like bipolar, but I think that's him in his. So he's not severed, right? He's just a regular employee.
You think he's bipolar?
Well, it's because one thing he's bringing, the bundle of blue balloons, and he's all, and then like when he has to get serious, so it's just he's always changing. This is just part of his job when he's.
Well, I wanted to talk about Milchek. What would.
Well, I was just noticing
what would cause somebody to behave that way at work? They must have something. He must want something from that company.
Something with Miss Selvig. Selvig is at the business, right?
No, Selvig is Audi.
So Cobell. I feel like he has such hatred.
Cobelvig might be a helpful nomenclature.
Yes. So I feel like Milchek has such like hatred like that. When he was calling to get the screensaver removed from his computer.
You think that was what that was about, and not just him wanting it to be about him now?
Well, I think so, but still, I mean, yeah.
I feel like he had to be brought in a similar way to Mark, where he had something bad happen to him. Maybe not Severance level, but something where he wants something out of this company. Because in order for him to behave the way he does, inside and outside of there, that's pretty loyal. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing everything the way that they would want it. And
it's his job. He's not going to go... You can see, like, certain times when he's, like... When he, like, questions some things, but he still does it.
Right.
So you can tell he has some empathy that, he wants to maybe do the right thing, but... Says, okay, so let's go into this one, because I have things about him.
Okay,
now.
In episode 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so goodbye, Miss Selvig.
Oh, sorry.
Mrs. Selvig. Sorry, I had to correct that in my note there. So I just wanted to say, you were not in the last episode of Season 1 podcast.
I was not feeling good that day.
No, Episode 1. Or Season 1. The finale of Season 1. That was like Jeremy
and
meant
Dre
and I. Mm-hmm. But one thing I was absolutely certain of was that there was going to be confusion about what he was shouting at the end of episode 9 of Season 1, where he said, "She's alive." And I'm like, I'm telling you, everybody around is going to think he's talking about the baby. And that's
about Gemma.
But no, I know that, but everybody there in the Audi world, because she's holding the baby.
Yes.
And I got so much pushback on it. No way they're going to do that. They're absolutely doing that to some degree. Even as we see throughout this episode, Mark isn't particularly... He's adamant that she's dead, so he's not even really that interested. His sister is more sort of curious about... She just wants some finality to that.
Right.
But the fact that they did... I knew they were going to do that. There's no way that she's just going to go, "Oh, you mean your wife? Because you're holding the picture?" Like, they're just going to go, "Well, yeah, she's alive. We just found her in the other room. The baby. She's alive." He didn't say, "Gemma's alive."
Right.
If he had come in the room and said Gemma's alive, then we'd be having a different discussion. But I don't think they're going to drag it on.
No.
It seems like they're really getting to things pretty quickly this season. Like, they're not starting right where we left off was an amazing choice. I really enjoy them picking it up right there. So after that, we go to Helena with her dad. Did you have stuff before that? Yeah, Mark at his sister's house.
I have so did she just forget everything that he had just told her about Miss Casey? Because he wasn't.
He didn't. She didn't
bring it
forget.
up.
He said, "What's with Mrs. Selvig, Miss Casey?" Like he said that to Milchick when Milchick popped over.
Right.
Yeah. So we come to that later on in the episode. So she's in there with her dad, Helena.
They're backstage, kind of.
Yeah, she was in like some sort of bathroom thing again. Was this right after the gala, potentially? Where he came in disgusted at her behavior?
Yeah, I put Helena backstage. Some old white-haired guy said, fetid moped.
Fetid moped. Fetid moped.
Yes. I put, it's her father.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when they go and figure out, they need to see who the other Audis talk to, and they were like, so right. It must have been just after
the gala.
Because that's what she was wearing to the gala, that outfit.
So it's like her afterwards, like, A, I don't know what just happened because it wasn't me. It was my innie. And B, I would imagine some sort of concern or like embarrassment of what she might have said about her company, essentially.
But it's like she knows, and I feel like she's protecting that side of things. And because now she's realizing, like, oh shit, my dad is Keir Egan. I think.
Well, not Keir. His name is James.
James?
Yeah, not James. James.
Gosh.
Again, the genius thing about this show is changing a name with one letter, and everybody's names is weird now. Yeah, James, not James.
Okay.
So Dylan leaves, and Milchick watches from above. Go on. Yes. You have more to that than I wrote. It was kind of creepy, but I think it was like, do you think he was thinking, does Audi Dylan know something now that he wouldn't have known before? So he's watching to see if he would behave differently? Or do you think it was just like, okay, they're all out of here for the night, now I'm going to have to go fire the Audis?
Maybe, because he had just made a deal. So it's kind of like backtracking in a sense, because he had just made this deal with Dylan inside, saying you get access to this, but you can't tell anybody.
Well, they were saying in that first episode, or in the second episode, maybe of the Severance podcast, that they were kind of stressed about where they were gonna go, because there were so many questions on the outside and so many on the inside that once they decided episode 1 was going to be innies only, then they could kind of focus the questions that the innies would have, and then this is the Audi episode, so now it's focusing on those things. So it was helpful to like break it up like that. So I think that's why they did it. So yes, it is overlapping in time.
Okay.
So we're seeing the exact Audi version of, like, literally when we pick up with Mark, he's at the party, the reading party.
Yeah.
Because Rickon is like, well, we'll have to reschedule the reading.
Yeah.
So that literal pickup from right where they left off. So now it's like, who even knows what day of the week it was? Is he coming in on Monday? That's what they keep saying. Right.
Why did Dylan have an ice pack on his head? And also, I've never actually seen that style of ice pack in real life. I only ever see it in movies.
Okay.
Like those big old whoopee cushion ice packs.
He has that ice pack on his head, probably that style because it's Lumen, and it would be something traditional.
Because they said
like
he
that.
got in a fight.
No, but he didn't get in a fight.
So, okay, then what was the thing where in the first episode he was like, oh, because he was so mad at Milchick, because he was like, I want to, like, punch him or something, because he was like, it sounded like
because
there was an altercation.
Dylan didn't go on the Audi mission because he already got to wake up in his closet that one time when Milchick woke him up about the card that he had taken and he had stashed behind the toilet. So Dylan stayed behind and held the switches.
Yes.
So Dylan got smacked with something from Milchick there.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know if Milchick was telling Dylan, like, there was an altercation at work and there was a fight. I didn't know if he was referring to that fight amongst themselves, but Dylan doesn't know, right?
I don't think he would be telling any Dylan.
Okay, but you see where I'm getting that from, though? Because I was like, wait, what fight? Was it Milchick and him?
But Audi Dylan, they would just say, oh, something happened, you hit your head, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Because they're not going to say what's going on down there. Helena is telling Milchick what to do. So this is literally right after the incidents.
Right, so this is when he hops on his motorcycle.
Well,
so they have a parking
they've already
garage.
scrubbed the footage from the event. That was an interesting point. They said they've already, like, they took everybody that was theirs footage and got rid of it.
Yes, because I have a note later on when she's going back and rewatching the footage of her and Mark.
You're right. And then that's after this. It goes to the table. It was a weirdly separated hallway into that long conference room thing where Miss
Selvig.
Cobell was.
Cobell.
Technically it's Selvig, but I guess Cobell when she's trying to work for Lumen.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, she's in there and she asks for an apology, basically. Like
Yes.
that was the gist of that scene, and like I welcome your contrition. What a
It was so
menacing line.
weird. I welcome your contrition. But like as that conversation progressed, when she found out that she wasn't going to be
Back on the
floor,
Uh-huh.
and was like, "You're getting a promotion," and then she was like, "She said, now she'll put some thought into it." She's upset that Milchick has it. So she wants the power. So there's something more that she knows further about what's going on, and now she's like kind of like losing control of.
Do you remember in season 1 when she had that little shrine in her home?
Yeah.
Maybe her parents were severed, or maybe it was something where if she, again, I keep saying that Milchick is working for them for a reason beyond money.
Yep.
It's something to do with the same thing, like similar to what's happening with Mark and Gemma, where like maybe there could be a happy outcome at the end.
Right.
But so Miss Selvig, I think, is doing the same thing. I think she has some connection to this cult from long ago.
Yep.
And is so indoctrinated in it that she's going to do whatever she needs to do. Yes, you're hiding behind the mic.
It is a cult. I just let you know it was a cult.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So it was a cult. Hey, Ruth.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in. If you don't watch Severance, this is probably not of any value to you. But
So
she gets the Severance Advisory Council promotion offer, and Milchick is floor manager. Thoughts up till that point? Do you have anything else from your notes?
Well, I just think that I just know that Cobell, she just thinks that she is automatically back in. Like, she got her apology, and she's like, okay, now I need to deal with Mark S. and do this, and that's when...
Yeah, started giving
Helena
notes
was
immediately on the...
And she kind of, like, shut down, like, oh.
But you notice a difference in personality with Helena.
Yeah.
She's very calm.
Yes.
And it's like they were kind of saying there, I was thinking it already, is that things come easy to her because she's kind of rich and this has always been part of her life. So it's
like, she didn't even hesitate when Miss was like, I am warranted an apology. She's like, I apologize.
And it didn't even seem fake. You know,
like, I would be like, girl.
Dude, what a contrast from the break room. When they asked
sorry.
Helena to apologize.
I do this. When she had to read it like 100,000 times.
Isn't that cool? And like she nailed it on the first try with Miss Cobell this time. So Audi, Helena, is more genuine in her apologies.
Yep. Okay.
Let's see. Helena records a message saying she was drunk and on pills.
So I called this...
No, not on pills. On a non-Lumen rash cream or something
for her
like
arm,
that.
For a rash on her arm.
Because Lumen does rash creams and stuff like that. Lumen is a company like that. If you remember the Lexington letter, do you remember us reading that? Where there was like a letter from in the world of Severance where it was like Dolly or Dixie or something like that. There was some character in there, but they were talking about rash creams and things like that. So the fact that they had to point out I was mixing alcohol with a non-Lumen rash medication so as to not incriminate the company.
So Helena at this point...
I like how you're having a hard time with that
Helena, at this point...
You should watch, Ruth. It's a really cool show. The idea of the show is that you get a chip implanted in your brain and it separates your work life from your home life. It's on Apple TV. Anyways.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me, my voice cracked. Helena.
Uh-huh.
She is aware that her innie kind of popped into her Audi life, or no?
They would have... Presumably they would have told her, but in the process of bringing her back into that bathroom or wherever she was when she met up with James again.
Right.
Somebody would have said, yeah, your Audi or your innie just popped into you, and you know what I mean?
But wouldn't she remember that because she was there?
No.
Because Mark
She wasn't
S.
there.
remembers.
No, he doesn't. Mark.
Their innies remember.
Mark Scout doesn't remember. You'll notice when Mark woke up there, he was just like, same regular Mark, like traumatic pain Mark. Like
Right.
it was
And
just
their
a moment
eyes
ago. He's
are
like,
like-
oh my God, she's alive. And then he's like, sad again. Because he knows nothing of what just happened. For him, that was a blink of an eye. It was the same thing as
Okay.
when he went down the elevator in this episode and you saw it go to black. And
So-
then his eye pops back up. Whoa, I'm back
So
awake.
Helena, at this point, when she's reading her, what I called it, I said, "Here comes her forced apology."
It was a
She's-
fake.
It's a fake, but so does she know it's a fake, or she's just being scripted on what to read?
She's doing that because she's doing damage control for the company that she's the president of or whatever. Like,
But she's not aware of what just happened. Only of what the other innies.
She has no idea what just happened. She knows nothing of the other innies. All she knows is that she blacked out for 39 minutes or whatever it was.
Holy moly! Okay, I didn't
and
realize that.
Somebody has to fill her in on what happened in the in-between. So then she has to, for the sake of the company, do this recording.
Okay.
So then we go to Milchick, who's driving on a motorcycle in the middle of winter, because when they left it was snowing on the ground. So who rides a motorcycle in the winter?
They have like
Black
an
ice.
underground parking garage for the employees, it seems, because he came out of a tunnel.
But there's black ice. Yeah, he's Batman, of course, because they could drive out from the
We
severed
should
floor.
watch Batman tonight.
Okay, fine. It drives out from the severed floor, which is down lower. But driving
got
on a
it.
motorcycle out into the winter, you could slip on anything. I rode my scooter once in the winter, and it was like icy, black ice, and you just, boom,
Doesn't
slide.
surprise me, Joel.
Yeah, well, of course, you don't see it. You don't know it's
Okay.
coming.
So at this point,
So he's going to fire Irving.
he's doing damage control. He fires Irving.
Yes.
He
and
fires.
Irving is being overly fake nice, I noticed. Like, Audi Irving is plotting something against Lumen. He is there because he wants to know what's going on inside Lumen, I bet. I think he got severed for the sake of investigating Lumen. Or he's become suspicious since he started working there because of all that stuff in that trunk.
In the paintings that he has.
Yeah, the paintings of
Because it went back to that image again. It's like all blacked out. You see the red little light on the elevator door.
Yeah. So it was like where they sent Miss Casey down, that elevator. It wasn't the break room, but it was something, it was a similar hallway thing like that. Did you notice Dylan's cul-de-sac was, the grass in the middle of it was a lumen teardrop shape or water drop
it
shape?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Okay, so that was a lie in episode 1 that they refused to come back. They were all fired.
Okay.
And then Dylan next, and then they went to the new opening sequence. So do you have anything before the new opening?
Nope. We answered it because I was like, who did Dylan? My spaghetti squash is beeping.
Go ahead. Go get your spaghetti squash. We're going to take a quick break here for a moment with just Joel here discussing Severance while Michelle checks her spaghetti squash. If I'm honest, this gives me a minute to hit my Jewel while she's not judging me for it. So yeah, if you watched the vlog, you know that we lost the baby last week, and it was really, really difficult, and we'll be trying again at some point, but this is getting Michelle back on the horse here, talking to people and being out in the world. So thank you for watching, whoever's there. I see 3 of you currently. I'm just doing it because I need to talk about this stuff because I find the show fascinating. It's as close to Lost as I'm gonna get. Oh, you're back already?
Oh. Me?
Mm-hmm. Dang it, I only got to hit my vape twice.
Wait, so you can like actually pause the live stream?
Nope.
Oh.
I was just talking to him. Whoever might be there.
I brought you. Oh, we got 2.
Okay. The new opening sequence was sick. Like, I have not analyzed it, but I did notice there was a car that looked similar to Miss Selvig's, or Miss Cobell's,
The white
in the
one?
lake.
In the lake.
Like, in the opening sequence, it showed a car sinking in a lake, and the headlights looked like Miss Cobell's. But I'm thinking that it's some sort of tie-in to Gemma, that maybe
She was
Miss
in an
Cobell
accident.
was in an accident with Gemma, or she ran her off the road or something, because I guess the other possibility that we have to discuss is that Gemma asked to get away from Mark. and she asked to be completely severed, 100%. Like, it's a possibility.
Right, and so now it's like she just passed
She
away,
just
and so
wanted to
he
get-
thinks she's dead.
Yes, so they
But when she
faked her
saw
death.
that, it's like,
But she's trying to get away from him, and they're checking to
Mark's
make sure that
crazy.
it worked. No, they're checking to make sure that it worked by having her do the, what do you call it?
oh, being the wellness director.
Yeah, exactly. Thoughts, just random thoughts. I don't know if there's anything to that or not. So we get back to Rickon thinking it's about the baby. What do you got?
Okay. At his sister's, and apparently I call him Brecken. Brecken. They're at Devin and Rickon's house. Okay, we covered that when they're like, she's alive and whatever.
Right. Well, they were just confirming, like, I'm pretty sure it was about the baby.
Yeah. So this is when Milchick arrives at their house, and I'm wondering, how did he know that Mark S. was there?
But before we get there, Rickon calls the workie a jewel because he really was so nice to Rickon. Mark is, like, indifferent to Rickon. Like, he
Yes.
doesn't care for him, really.
Yes.
Not indifferent. He's not a fan of Rickon's.
Right.
It feels like it's all pompous and kind of nonsense. But the workie, as Rickon called it, rather than any, was, like, bowing down to Rickon, like, oh my God, you're the best, because he read the book.
He read the book, so he's like he's like this all-star
He's like a prophet to them or
author.
something, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark agrees it was about the baby, and this is when Rickon geniusly suggests Kovelvig. Kobelvig. It typed it wrong. Kobelvig as a nomenclature for
Right.
Kovel and Selvig.
But how did Milchick know to go to his sister's house?
Presumably they're watching them. Oh, I know why. Because Miss Kobel would have known. Because she probably already told him that she was there. Undercover. This is before she got fired.
So did
Or
Milchick...
was it after she got
It was
fired?
after.
That's a good question then. Maybe they just know. Maybe they're watching him in general.
Because when Milchick was like... I think that's in here too, like Milchick...
Well, wait, one more thing. Rickon says the innies were inspired by his book. And they were. But it's just kind of interesting that nobody on the outside world's... I mean, the other people are super into it, but Mark does not
Right.
care about it. I don't understand the disconnect there with all the people with the weird names like Rebecca.
Okay,
So
we're
anyways,
back.
Milchick visits Mark there at Rickon's.
Okay, and then I have, was Milchick not aware that Miss Kobel lived next to Mark? I never know if he's lying or if he really doesn't know, because he was like, we didn't know that she was, like, into you, because he said they thought it was going to be a throuple in the beginning.
Who said they thought it was going to be a throuple?
Milchick said something like, we think she was planning a throuple with Audi and Annie Mark.
Maybe. That's possible. Well, at this point, Milchick explains OTC and that they were awake for 39 minutes. And he just throws Kobel under the bus. Says that Mark is kind of non-committal about going back at this point.
Right. I want to backtrack to the first episode.
Sure.
So Milchick, he had told Mark, I locked you in a room like an animal, Mark. As an unseated man, I'll carry that the rest of my life. When did Mark get locked in a room? So, like, I wonder about Milchick, again, going back to his
They
personality.
locked
Like,
him in a room like an animal.
yeah, I don't know. Some random thing I took in.
Maybe the break room.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that's what he's talking about. Because I don't remember him being locked in anywhere that he couldn't get out of. Other than the break room.
Wait, was she trying to hook up with Mark? Milchick said she had an erotic fixation with him as an innie and an outie, and they think she was trying to plan a throuple.
Oh, so but with whom? 'Cause
Mark and Mark.
But no, Mark.
No clue.
Mark is by himself on the outside.
Exactly.
Unless she's bringing Gemma back to life to have sex with her. That's kind of weird.
No, but I'm guessing she's trying to get with like
Her and Mark. I mean, what? So what? Mark and his sister? Who are we talking about on the
Mark
outside?
and Mark. Like she's trying to get with
Mark and
S.
Mark.
She's trying to get with Mark S
A
on the
severed
inside
throuple?
and Mark S on the outside.
But Mark S is into Helly on the inside.
I know, but they're saying. What's I'm wondering is Milchick thinking, did he know that Miss Selvig or Kobel, whichever she is, lived next to him?
I would think so.
Okay, so he's just saying, because he's making it seem like he had no clue, and
Right.
this was okay.
Mark then, or Milchick says that the innie was brave. He's trying to kind of hype him up. Because one thing I didn't really talk about in the first episode was the newspaper article that they showed them, which was literally the picture that they took, that group shot of all four of them, put into a different order, photoshopped terribly. It was the Harry Truman celebration parade that they were photoshopped into. And it looked so bad for a company that was able to make a claymation video or a stop motion video in 3 days. Or whatever. But so he's saying is the innie was brave in an effort to make him you don't want to give this up because he's got nothing on the outside. So it's like maybe the innie has something that I should.
Right. And that's when he offered him a 20% raise if he were to come back.
Did he at this point? I don't think he did yet.
Oh, wait,
no, he didn't.
Was it not yet?
No, we're just at Mark goes home and sees Miss Cobell's car. Mm-hmm. She doesn't answer the door. And then we get to Helena watching the innie show about the elevator kiss. So it's kind of like the Truman Show a little bit, where the innies don't know that they're being watched, even though it should be pretty obvious to them.
Right.
But so Helena's sitting there watching, and I think she's jealous of Helly.
Yes. Oh, I was thinking that she's watching and not jealous of Helly. I was thinking because maybe she knew. At this point, I didn't know if she was aware of her innie life versus outie life, because in the first episode of season 2,
we were thinking maybe she was like, the outie on the inside.
Not even that. Because she was like, Miss Casey or Gemma, like, you're not even really married because this is your innie self. She's like, but if you want, I'll help you if you want how to find her. So it's like she was jealous in a way.
Oh, jealous from the innie perspective that he was married to somebody on the outside.
Yes. Because then I put, in her outie world, is she aware of Miss Casey being his wife?
She must know. Yeah. I would think as like one of the people in charge of
Right, so
women.
I took that as her watching it, because she watched it a few times and they were like kissing. And so that's like her being
she's
jealous
like, what
of
the hell? Why is this version of me able to find love or whatever? Maybe she's single on the outside.
I'm thinking she's jealous of Miss Casey, and now she's worried that Mark is gonna.
She's jealous that version of her is uninhibited enough, because as she was saying at the end of the episode in the after thing, Helly is her with no mask on because she doesn't know that she needs to wear one. But Helena is so guarded on the outside because she's been rich and she's in this position of power that things come easily to her, where Helly knows nothing of that. So she's just like, nope, this is what I actually think, and Helena's very guarded.
Yep. Wow.
So she's jealous that any Helly found love.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that clears it up. Okay.
I just put it looks too cold to be on a motorcycle. So Dylan outie going for a job interview at a door store called Great Doors. That was hard to say. A door store called Great Doors.
Like the great outdoors. It reminds me of Monsters, Inc., like when they have all the doors going like that little factory.
If you could be a door, what kind of door would you be?
A white door with a little pink flower on it. Oh my gosh, like a pocket door?
That's what he said, a pocket door. But no,
I know,
like seriously.
I want to be the little thing that you just open the net and walk out.
You want to be the screen, the $19 protective plastic screen?
I'd be a French door.
Dylan said he would be a pocket door. I don't know.
Ooh,
like, I
kind of
like
glass.
I like the one that's the French door that's going into my office, because that would be I'm clear enough that I kind of put myself out there.
So you want
you can see through all of it. Like I'm not hiding anything.
I want to be a steel door, I guess.
Michelle's a trap. Her mind is a trap. She doesn't want to share anything.
Imagine
how that is, being somebody who's vlogged every day for 10 plus years. And now she's like, I don't know if I want to share that. And I'm like, look, man, you knew what you married into.
What kind of door I want to be?
What? Oh, we're back to that. Yeah, the podcast.
What kind of door do I want to be?
Yeah, what kind of door would you be? What do you think of yourself as a door?
An elevator door. No.
Why did I put they play kickball on Fridays and his last name is George? Dylan George?
I have no clue. I didn't get that.
He's essentially getting racist treatment for being severed. Do you notice that?
Yes. So, yeah, I put door interview guy looks like Dylan. Curious as to why he said no when finding out he was severed. So something against, because at first, like, going through all his little background, like, oh, he switched a lot of jobs, and, oh, he worked at Lumen.
Right.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm severed. You're severed? And then it just changed, and,
Yeah.
well, thank you for your time.
It's like you're a piece of shit at this point. I'm
Yeah,
not
get the
interested.
fuck out.
Yep. You're the only one who said that.
Dylan,
twice.
who looks like me.
He was being kind of a dick to his wife in the car, too. Like, what was that about? You think...
Dylan?
Yeah, like, she called, and he's like, you didn't take it from the first one, that me not answering the first time, that it wasn't good news? Like, what a dick thing to say, for no reason. Like, she's just calling to check up on him. Like, why is he being such a dick to his wife? What does he have over her? Is she not attractive? Is she not nice?
Maybe it's Miss Casey.
It's not Miss Casey. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know. I'm just... Okay, whatever.
Devin wants to confirm with the innie what he meant about she's alive.
Is this when we go, Mark talking to his sister? I saw her body. He identified her.
Yep. Yeah, he wants to quit, and they discuss her death at the diner. She wants to be sure, but Mark kind of has given up.
So I put...
And that's when we see the Helena Shadow guy listening with, Frolic on his...
Yeah, so before that, I have, so was her death fake in real life? Okay, so this would be back to, like, the theory of Miss Cobell or Miss Selvig. Like, maybe there's something that happened, or she crashed and it was a cover-up, or Miss Casey or Gemma not wanting to be around Mark anymore. But I was like, are the Severance people messing with him? But it's like, nah, because he goes into this world where he has no clue, so obviously he doesn't know. But then they were able to, do the little time machine warp where Dylan was like, and they saw things. So they never meant for that to happen.
Correct, because they didn't want people on the outside to know what's happening on the inside.
Oh, my brain hurts. Okay.
Right. This is why it's like Lost.
Helena's goon had a Frolic tattoo.
Yeah, I put the shadow guy was listening at the diner. He looks very much like Rickon. Yeah, I'm noticing this connection of people looking similar in this show. We go to Audi Irving making a phone call from a phone booth.
Maybe they have, like, other innies and Audis. Like, maybe
like
that...
doppelganger kind of situations?
Yeah, like that Dylan's guy. Like, that's Dylan in another life.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rickon really just works for Lumen.
There's nothing that says they don't. He has one of those weird names like James Egan. Helena's name is surprisingly normal.
I kind of like it.
So when Audi Irving is making a phone call from a phone booth, Bert is following him.
Yes. And I was like, how does Bert know? But Bert, he just had someone pounding at his door, and he's like, who is this guy?
Right. And now he's following that person to see what connection there could be there. Do you think ultimately Bert and Irving end up together? Bert and Irving!
Like, Bert
it sounds like
and
Bert and
Ernie!
Ernie! Shut the fuck up, I didn't hear that until just now.
Bert and Ernie.
Anyways, Milchick brings a fruit basket with a pineapple. I don't know what the significance of the pineapple is there. Like, I know what pineapple
someone
means,
said, did
but...
you use your safe word and say pineapple? Who said that?
What do you mean, who said that? In this show?
Yes. Someone mentioned, did you say pineapple?
I don't remember that.
I swear to you. So since you referenced that pineapple basket,
right,
it was like a crystal clear image to the peephole.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, it was.
But no, someone said pineapple. Someone said pineapple. Someone said pineapple.
Okay, I'm with you. If you remember, put it in the comments. Miss Cobell is severely disturbed. You notice how he said that severely? That's like severed.
Yes.
It's just kind of little innie joke there. He tells Mark that the innie was brave. He's pushing his buttons, and I mean that's pretty much the end of that conversation there. Milchick then, I don't know if you saw this, but I noticed it in the last viewing. Milchick, like we see Irving in the car, and then we see Milchick drive across his throat, essentially cutting his head off.
It looked like a little fly or something in that image. And then
but it literally went across his throat. Is he going to cut his head off at some point in the future? Are we going to get some sort of like fruit version of Irving's head on a table somewhere? So then Milchick asks how happy Mark is with his compensation, and he gives him a 20% bump if he returns. What do you think they make for a severed job?
Bribery. What?
Like, what do you think the salary would be for a severed job? Like, think about how committed you have to be to have that thing implanted in your head. Like, what would you take a year? Like, what would it take for you to be severed? I'm being absolutely serious. Don't be funny at all.
I don't know.
How much to do a severed job would it take? Because they want you there bad enough to pay you. So how much money?
You would think like at least 100K, but I don't know.
But that's nothing.
I know.
That's nothing.
Like, say if they were working in California and that's like normal, like 120,000 is like, ooh, that's a lot, but with the cost of living there. So what if they're like in Indiana and it's like,
but you would think it would have to
60,
be
70.
like double what you would at least double what you would normally make to get the severed procedure.
But I don't know. I
I would think at least like $250,000.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Their work is mysterious and important.
That is very true. It's not like a grocery store. Okay, fair enough. I see your point. Okay.
He reminds him of what, sorry, I'm using pronouns. Milchick is reminding Mark
you can't do that today.
Milchick is reminding Mark of what he said when he got hired. That every day feels like a year since Gemma died.
Yes.
He said he was choking on her ghost. Does he still feel that way? Do you think he still feels that way? I think currently he has like a new motive, which is what is going on at Lumen?
Right.
Do you think he's still choking on Gemma's ghost?
It's hard to say because I know him as anyone, and it's like he has a happy life, but he doesn't know of his former or his outie life. But in his outie life, he seems kind of
depressed
still. So of course that still lingers. So I think so, but to what extent, I don't know.
Right. I feel like he's getting a new purpose with this. I feel like his purpose is going to be figuring out what the hell's going on at Lumen. Mm-hmm. Whereas before he didn't really care. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, wait a minute, this other version of me, A, found love, and B, is trying to actively tell people what's going on in there. Something's like that's going to shift him over. Do you think long term that we are shipping Helena and Mark Scout?
Shipping?
That's a term in TV for like, people would ship Sawyer and Kate on Lost. Like, we want them to get together. That's called shipping for whatever reason.
Yes.
Do we think do we think the long term here is that Miss Casey is actually dead and Mark is not going to get back with her on the outside, and that it should be Mark S / Mark Scout and Helly / Helena? That was just a question I wrote down. I think so.
I never thought of that. It's totally an option.
Because this is only going to be 4 seasons, this show, I think.
They would have really cute kids.
But is that going to make them happy? Because
no.
I don't know. I would hope so, but I don't know. If
well,
Mark
considering that they wanted to kiss each other before they were going into their outing world and they knew it was going to happen, it was like, so like in case we come back or in case we don't come back or whatever.
Right.
So there was something that was trying to transpire. But now that outie...
But that's about the innies. That's not about the outies.
But now that outie Mark is in his innie world and he knows about Miss Casey...
But he doesn't.
Shoot, you're right.
It's so complicated. Anyways, he told him the innie found love and, like I said, long-term shipping of Helena and Mark Scout. So Helena then watches Mark walk inside because now she's like, what is it about this guy that my innie loves? That she kissed him. So now she's looking at him in a different way. She's like, is he a potential mate for me?
Oh. Hello, mate.
We hear from Milchick that he only had 48 hours to pull together a new team, which again, shit cans the 5-month theory. A pair from overseas, or no, wait, what? How can that be? I wrote down a pair from overseas and 2 from 5X, so it must have been 1 from 5X. How did you have it?
No, Gwendolyn and
the Italian guy
were from 5.
Were from 5X, but the other guy wasn't from overseas, so maybe they were a pair from overseas from 5X, and then the other guy because he was from Milwaukee, I think he said.
Yeah, and because Gwendolyn, they had the guy that I said looks like Irving, the Italian. Mm-hmm. He had brooms and ropes, and then Gwendolyn, they had. I forgot. So it was different things, but they were still from 5X.
Yeah, so they were talking about where they came from. So 5X, that's a mystery. What is 5X? I want to know.
Mystery be?
They need Mark long enough to complete Cold Harbor. They need him back to work. So this has to be about Gemma, right? They
Because you said
literally
the
showed.
68%.
It said 60. It showed when they started. I can't remember who it was that in episode 1 actually started organizing the data on the screen. Like they got back to work, the MDR stuff. And it went into the thing and it said 68% complete. Then it showed Miss Gemma, or it showed Gemma, Miss Casey on the screen, and it said 68% loaded. And it showed the same letters, W, whatever the things are for
So
the
it's
tenors.
like they're trying to like crack the code of.
No, they need Mark S. This is clearly about Mark S. because they didn't fire Mark S. and they're like, we need him to finish
Because
Cold
it
Harbor.
has to do with
It has to be
Gemma.
about Gemma. That's what I'm saying. So they need Mark S. to be there to sort out what her personality was. But is it for good or bad? Is it for them to reunite, or is it
No.
for her to get away from him, or is it to prove reincarnation is possible? Any number of things.
I feel like this show is going to take a huge spin, like
Oh,
when
of
I was
course.
watching Lost, and it's like,
Yep.
what? Just didn't see that one coming.
If they have 4 seasons, they're definitely going to take some spins. So, my next comment was, how did Helly know to stop playing the tape at exactly when it was about to stop talking? When Mark was done talking, when he was shouting to the board, but she probably listened to it, so that makes sense. Okay, my sugar's getting high. That's fine. Anyways, the shadow guy. Which, do we have a name for him? Anybody?
Someone
I'd love
said
a
it.
name for the guy.
Maybe he's Brecken.
He's definitely not Brecken. Nobody's Brecken.
I don't know where Brecken came. I thought his
The
wife
shadow
was
guy says that he gets the whole team back because he won't finish without them. So again, this is very much about Mark S. or Mark Scout specifically.
The board heard Mark and they're giving him what he wants.
But why? Why give him what he wants and not Dylan and Irving?
Well, Milchick kind of gave Dylan access to.
It almost feels like these two are irrelevant. They're just there because Mark likes them at this point. What were they doing with Petey there before?
That's what
when
I
Mark
wanna
came
know.
in. What was Petey doing?
Like,
What was
what's
his
the
mission?
Petey? Because Petey clearly went to Mark in the first
Because they were
season.
friends there, so they were working
They
there
were best
together.
friends.
Inside, their innies were. Oh, we didn't see when Mark started. That's right. We see Mark W. is pissed off that he broke a lease in Grand Rapids, and he says, "Fuck you, Lumen," very much reminiscent of that song in season 1. I feel like that was just like here's the public's perception of this company still, despite what they tell you inside. Dylan returns and Irving returns. Irving's was locker 4 and Helena's was locker 16, so I just wanted to mention those are both lost numbers. I didn't see what Dylan's locker number was. If it's 8, I'm going to lose my shit. They don't show any of the transformations, so there's no confirmation if it's Helly or Helena. But I'm thinking now that it is just Helly.
Yeah.
I think she was embarrassed that she found out who she was on the outside.
Yes, she's the one. People are going to be like, your dad is Kier or Jane Egan or whatever. So she's, because they're going to probably like have so many questions for her, and she's not going to have those answers down in this world right now.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. Then, do you have anything else before we get to the last scene?
No.
That you want to talk about? Okay.
This is when Mark confronts Miss.
Yeah, this is when Mark sees Miss Selvig, and he calls her out, and she tries to leave. And he's like, I hate your shitty fucking cookies.
Like, you're so easy to sway.
Yeah, she brought up the pineapple and all that. And
That's the pineapple thing.
Yeah. So Milchick showed up with a pineapple carved out that had stuff in it, like he was using it to bribe. And she's like, you're so easy to sway. She knew that that's the company's tactics to sway them.
Okay, that's where I heard pineapple.
Yeah. He asked her about Gemma, and you see her, like, visibly clench a little bit or something.
And she was like...
And then she lost her shit like Michelle in the car and hit the horn and just sped.
I don't do that. I don't speed off.
But that was basically the end of the episode. So I saw something on Reddit that I wanted to talk about. It says, working as a crossing, Miss Casey was killed in a car accident. So maybe Miss Huang was hit by a car. Both Miss Huang and Miss Casey don't have first names under the casting list, so what is happening to them may be related. Maybe she is the one they met quota on last season. Miss Huang. And it says, I like the subtle separation between outies, who are referred to in Mr. and Mrs., and innies who are referred to by first name and last initial. So Mr. Scout and Mark S.
That is
Having
very
Miss
true.
Huang and Miss Casey seem to indicate that they are outies of some type and not innies, right? Maybe there's no reason to separate their personas because they only have one. That was on Reddit. I call this section Reddit on Reddit. Thoughts on that? The fact that there's Mr. Milchick.
Yep.
There's Miss Casey.
Yep.
I mean, Miss Cobell. Miss Casey. Miss Huang. But it's Mark S. Irving whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan G. Or whatever. So there's some different level of classifications there.
Maybe the third episode will come out tonight.
It does. You want to go watch it?
It wasn't on. It wasn't up. It's also Friday.
Do you want to go watch it?
Yes. This is how we watch.
This is how to watch TV.
See you later.